this week, I made a video talking about my experience living with an OBGYN. I was living with her when she was in residency, and I saw how she saw barely any births, especially any vaginal births, while she was there. And we got a comment by a viewer that said she felt like that was fear-mongering, so I wanted to make a response to that. So first of all, I just want to say I understand that home birth is not for everybody, birth center is not for everybody. If you feel more comfortable having your baby in the hospital, that's absolutely where you should give birth, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I also wanted to bring up what are some good questions to ask your provider, because just because you have a provider that looks like they have sufficient training doesn't necessarily mean that they have good outcomes or that they really do have experience in birth. So what kinds of questions should you ask your OBGYN or your midwife? First of all, I would ask them, what is your C-section rate? The World Health Organization recommends that the C-section rate be no more than 15%. What is their approach to induction? Is that something they only do at 41 weeks, or do they wait till 42 weeks, etc.? How do they listen to the baby's heartbeat during labor? Are they comfortable with intermittent auscultation, which means that we listen to the baby's heartbeat for about 15 minutes of the hour? It lowers the C-section rate, and it allows women to move more freely, which helps to speed along the process of labor. Are they comfortable with you or your husband catching your baby? Are they comfortable delivering your baby in other positions besides your back? Most women instinctively do want to give birth in a kneeling forward or hands and knees position. What is their protocol if my water breaks before I go into labor? If my labor lasts 2 or 3 days, what types of techniques and tools do they have in their tool bag to help speed things along, or do they have the patience to sit with you for several days if your labor takes a while? How do you feel about delayed cord clamping? How do you feel about Pitocin after birth if I want to decline that? If I get induced with Pitocin and my contractions become strong, would you feel comfortable with turning off the Pitocin so that my body can kick in and labor on its own to deliver mostly natural? And I would ask them if they would feel comfortable with me refusing IV fluids or just getting an IV lock in place and not having routine IV fluids during labor. What tests do you require during pregnancy, and what tests do you require during labor? Are there any tests that I can refuse? If they have experience and training in delivery of breech births, and I would ask them specifically about surprise breech births versus a planned breech birth if they attend those. Do they do versions, which means that they flip the baby? So these are some questions that I would recommend that you ask the provider you're looking to work with, whether you have a baby at home, in a birth center, or at a hospital.